was big. I was like, big girl.
And here she comes. You going almost. I'm like, oh, that's Steve. I thought that was over.
We love you.
From the cold. Only Oprah from the cold.
But I was really huge. I was huge. Just the doctor was worried that I had gained so much weight. But I wasn't, like I said, I was trying to be healthy, do everything by the book. I wasn't overeating. I wasn't eating late at night. None of that stuff. But I had gained so much weight. And immediately, after I had the baby, immediately I lost about 40 pounds immediately. Like, you know, I had the baby. A few hours later, I got on the scale. I lost 40 pounds. And then I nursed Nyambi, and the pounds were just dropping. It never, you know, it didn't disappear, but it dropped pretty fast. But I gained a lot. And with Bria, I wasn't as big, but I felt like I was much more active when I was pregnant with Bria, because I had, you know, Nyambi, I'm running behind her, and you know,
so you can credit some of your, you would say to someone that breastfeeding helped you lose the weight?
Yeah, I think so.
How long did it take you to lose the 70 pounds?
Well, still working on that. But I've never gone back down to my size. I was just very small before I had kids. So, but yeah, I haven't. I still have baby fat.
What about you, Ayana? Do you think you did nurse?
I did nurse.
That caused you to not lose weight rapidly?
I still lost weight. Of course, I get it back. But I still lost weight because I was active. You know, I was walking the baby a lot.
Did you go back to your normal size after your first baby?
Yes, I did.
You did?
After the first and the second. But then life happened. But yeah, I think it didn't have nothing to do with breastfeeding. I was just active.
Do you remember the
time?
time?
And I wanted to lose. I wanted to lose weight. I mean, I didn't want to be. You know, I did the cocoa butter, the shea butter. I did everything I could to make sure.
So did that work?
Oh yeah, it worked for me because I drove. I don't like leaving Southwest Atlanta, but I drove all the way to Buckhead to get these special creams they said would work. I used cucumber
to avoid stretch marks.
Yeah, cucumber oil, and it helped. So I don't know.
So you're saying you used it while you were pregnant?
While I was pregnant. I mean, if you would have hugged me, I would have probably squeezed out of your arm. I smelled like cucumber because I was just sitting there, just moisturizing all the time, and
it worked.
How much weight did you gain?
I gained about 40 pounds, and I just
how long did it take you to lose it?
I want to say like after 2 months.
Oh wow!
Like with my first child, I lost the weight immediately because like he was born on the 3rd, and that Mother's Day I took him to church that next Sunday. The next Sunday I took him to church, and of course everyone was upset with me and told me that
especially you should be outside
and the baby is going to die when I get home, and all these other days. And
they were upset with you because you lost all that weight.
No, that was because I brought a baby out so soon, a week later, and I was like, well, it's Mother's Day, and I want to go out. So and I had my regular clothes, and I was excited, and I had my regular clothes.
I did that too.
I went out after
about a week later, and I took them to Toys R Us, and I thought this will be fun. You guys will love Toys R Us. They cried the whole way. They wanted to nurse. I had to pull over on the side of the road. Like, this is nuts!
No, you're just like excited to show off the baby. I was excited.
And speaking of, what do you think were some of the? Did you feel like there were disadvantages to bottle feeding versus nursing? Whereas we could roll over. I guess you probably shouldn't, but we could roll over at night and nurse and kind of doze a little bit when they were old enough.
Well, I mean, I wish that's what my mother said. She said you just
our bottle was already ready.
Was right. Right. Oh, but I had the, I had the little microwave, and I had the refrigerator.
In your
everything
room?
was in the room,
so
I didn't really have to go too far. But I was kind of envious because it was a lot. It's expensive. Formula is very expensive.
Oh, yeah.
You have to buy it. So definitely,
breast milk is free, y'all.
It's free.
Right.
I didn't want. I felt like breastfeeding was like being pregnant for 12 more months, and I just couldn't do it.
It definitely was a certain, I think, obligation that you are now connected to after having been pregnant. And then I know for me, by the time my 3rd one I was nursing, it wasn't as beautiful I felt more like a cow, and I kind of felt like they really dominated my time in life because no matter what I was doing when it was time to feed, I had to stop and feed until I got crafty enough to clean and nurse at the same time. So it definitely is a different level. And you
Clean
can't
and nurse, what?
Oh yeah.
You mean clean up?
And nurse at the same time. You didn't?
Yeah, skill.
Oh yes. I mean, well, I could do everything once the pain stopped. You didn't experience the pain, but when I got past the pain stage, I did about everything while nursing.
When I did experience the pain is when I stopped nursing. Because my boobs were so big. They were so big. It was like they could almost rest on my chin.
It was tight, and they were tight.
And then I was like, okay, Michael, fine, you can have some more. Just leave some of this.
So did you do anything? Like I've heard that you did cabbage. Did you
I never heard of any of that.
That's some old country cabbage. So cabbage, what do you do with it?
It's supposed to
put it on your breast.
I think it's something cool. I think it's just because it's cool. That's what
I think you were supposed to put something tight,
like a
around
towel,
to make them tight. And then,
I mean, literally to the touch, I could squirt every, it was so big. But I was nursing 2 kids, so it was producing so much milk because I literally was constantly nursing or pumping just all the time. And the boys got really big, really fast, because they were constantly nursing. And in the hospital, even the doctor came into the room one day and said, "Are you still nursing them?" I was like, "He's crying. You said I'm supposed to feed him if he's crying." And so I was trying to figure it all out, and the solution was to nurse. So when I tried to stop, when I had my 6 months in mind,
But how do you eat? I mean, how do you prepare food and all those things nursing all the time? That was my thing with all my friends that have done it. It's like, oh, I gotta find something to eat and I have to find something healthy, and I just didn't understand how are you able to do those things.
I think you try to find just a healthy balance of eating anyway.
Right.
But I think more importantly, one of the things was you have to figure out what you can't eat. So one of my children would get gas if I ate cabbage. Another one would get gas if I ate broccoli. So it was more about me not being able to eat certain things versus what should I eat.
Right.
I don't know. I figured a way to just do it all because I was a single mom nursing 2 babies with twins.
So you worked.
And I worked. I was working, single mom, twins, nursing, pumping, and I did have a lot of family, but I would cook when my family came over.
That was the way
expected to come over. It's like, come on over. I'm making tacos. I'm making this. I'm making that.
Oh, she couldn't
And then they would hold the babies. And
be right back.
Yeah. I would not leave, and then of course I had help to come in and stay with me for a little while. But for the most part, I was just doing it all. And I remember losing the weight, like you were talking about losing the weight. I gained 40 pounds during my pregnancy. When I got pregnant, I was 140. And then I went up to, I actually must have gained 30 pounds. So I went up to 170. That was when I was delivering the boys, I went up to 170. A month later, me and my girlfriend went to go take pictures of the boys, and I was down to 130. And I was like, but I wasn't eating as much as I should, and I wasn't sleeping, and I wasn't doing any of those things. I was just nursing all the time, probably drinking enough water, eating enough
and that's some of the downside, because you do have to remember you're so busy that you have to remember to eat. You have to say, I need to eat. So because you are nursing, but like you said, when you're doing so much, and especially with you doing it as a single mom in the beginning, it's hard. You have to remember to feed yourself.
Yeah, I had to remember to do all of these things, and then it was just second nature, like routine. It was never hard. And in fact, when I look back at pictures from the first 11 months of the boy's life, it's all a blur. Like, I don't remember any of that. But I was like a robot. Nurse them, get up, feed them, change them, do these things. And it's 2 of them. And it never felt hard. It felt like this was what has to be done. And so then I'm thinking, with diapers and everything else that has to come into the house, I don't have to get any formula.
Exactly.
This is easy. It's right here. It's food. It's easy.
Running out of formula is no joke.
Yeah.
It's being stuck in traffic. And you have to feed the baby, and it's like, oh my God, what do I do? You're freaking out. You need, I used to keep powder with me, but then I didn't have the water, so it was just, that was hard. Not, being stuck somewhere and you can't get formula.
Yeah, when the boys were 6 months and I started to buy the formula, I remember just going to Costco and buying bulks of it all the time, and I would have it just bulks of formula, bulks of diapers, just all the time. That was my regular grocery list.
Yeah, trying to make sure you stay stocked.
Yeah.
So, do you think that it was also an advantage for you not breastfeeding with your husband at the time? That he could get your boobs, he didn't have to share them with the kids, or he wasn't or they weren't squirting them. Nay over here, if one pops out, it'll squirt them in the mouth, doing the other.
It was not even for him. It was not for his benefit that I didn't do. It was not his benefit at all. It was
Except that you wanted to make sure.
I wanted to share the responsibilities, and I wanted to have babysitters, and I wanted people to watch them, because I have a friend who was breastfeeding, and when she was weaning her baby, I kept her child for 5 days. Why? Because she just needed her breast were sore, so I kept her for 5 days because her husband traveled a lot.
What a good trick! I mean,
yeah, I had her for 5 days, and I had my sister was with me, so I didn't have to take all the responsibility.
So specifically so that she could wean them off?
Yeah, just because it was their anniversary, and the baby was turning 1, and it was their anniversary, so I was gonna keep her for 2 days that weekend, and then she was like, "Well, can you, I want to wean and that, so can you keep her a little longer?" So I did it.
You didn't have any kids, did you?
Yeah, this was just happened like 2 months ago.
Oh wow!
So, yeah, this is like during the summer.
So when I decided to wean Noah off,
The baby
I can tune a baby crying out. I can be sitting here and the baby will be crying, and I don't hear anything. I don't even hear anything. I'm like,
your baby's crying. What?
People have always told me that the baby's crying. I was like, well, go get him. So,
did breastfeeding, how did that work with your husband? Was he allowed?
No issue.
Could he take turns, or was he restricted? Or
There was no issue.
Were the breasts off limits to your husband?
No.
We had a baby a few months later.
But for me, during that time though, they were off limits, because I couldn't shift gears in my mind that quickly.
Mom and all.
Yeah, I couldn't have.
I was like, how long the doctor say?
6 weeks.
Right. But I
I
couldn't nurse, because I just kind of felt like they were just my eating equipment, right, for that time. And
I was like, because I didn't have none. So then you have something that's like, wow,
like looking at yourself.
Look at this.
Right.
So it was like,
But then
have that issue.
that sex appeal was still kind of hard, because you got nursing pads on top of them. So you're getting all like this with your nursing pads, and then
you're leaking it.
And you're like, oh, I think I need to change. This kind of smells sour. So, and then even if you are, in the process of doing the other, and then you have
talking about the other. We all know what other is, right?
And your boob starts leaking or spraying like nail over here. It's like, sex.
Even though I was single, I was at home by myself. I still had a long distance relationship, and when he would come to visit, he wasn't interested. He thought that the boobs were more of a feeding machine. He wasn't interested in the boobs. So he was just like, wow, fascinated. I was like, you can come closer, and instead he wasn't interested in the boobs, because they were the
it wasn't like I was feeding them.
And breakfast in bed.
It's like, baby, breakfast is ready. Gross.